He was born a slave, sold like property with no future, no power, no name, no control over his own life. Just a boy, taken from everything he knew and thrown into a world where he had no say. But years later, that same boy would become a king. Not just any king, but one powerful enough to stand in the way of the British Empire. And when they could not control him, they did something unexpected, something quiet, something dangerous. They invited him for peace and took everything from him. Long before he became known as King Jaja, he was just a child, a boy growing up in a land filled with life, surrounded by people, by culture, by stories, a place where he belonged. But that life did not last because one day everything changed. He was captured, suddenly, without warning, without explanation, taken by force, pulled away from his home, from his family, from everything familiar. There were no goodbyes, no last words, no chance to understand what was happening. One moment he had a life, the next moment it was gone. He was sold, moved from one place to another, passed from one owner to another, treated not as a human being, but as something to be used, something to be owned, something to be traded. To those who controlled him, he was not a child, he was not even a person. He was property. Days turned into months, and months turned into years, and for many people, that kind of life would slowly break them. It would take away their spirit, their hope, their sense of self. But not Jaja, because even in that condition, even without freedom, something inside him refused to break. His body may have been controlled, but his mind was not. He was quiet, but he was always watching. He paid attention to everything around him. He listened carefully when people spoke. He observed how people traded goods, how they negotiated, how they argued, how they agreed. He studied the way power worked, not through force, but through control. He noticed something important, something most people ignored. Power was not always about strength, it was about understanding. And slowly, without anyone realizing it, Jaja began to learn. He learned how goods moved from one place to another. He learned how money was made. He learned how influence worked, how some people controlled trade while others depended on it. He learned how trust was built and how it could be used. While others focused only on surviving each day, Jaja was preparing for something bigger, something no one else could see yet, because deep inside, he believed something. If he could understand the system, one day he could control it. As time passed, things began to change, not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly. Jaja began to rise. He worked harder than others, not just with his hands, but with his mind. He made fewer mistakes. He learned faster. He adapted quickly. People began to notice him, not because he demanded attention, but because he earned it. He gained trust, and with trust came opportunity. He was given responsibilities. He handled goods. He managed trade. He became someone people depended on. And slowly, he moved from being just a slave to becoming something more, someone valuable. But even as he rose, he never forgot what it felt like to be powerless. He never forgot what it meant to have no control. And that memory stayed with him. It shaped him. It pushed him forward. Because Jaja did not just want a better life, he wanted freedom, real freedom, not temporary comfort, not borrowed power, but control over his own destiny. And one day, he made a decision, a bold, dangerous, life-changing decision. He would leave. He would walk away from everything he knew, from the system that once controlled him, and step into the unknown. It was not an easy choice. There were risks, there were doubts, there were people who believed he would fail. But Jaja was not driven by fear. He was driven by vision. He began to build something new,
not just a business, not just a way to survive, but a system of his own. He understood trade better than most people around him. He knew what people needed. He knew how goods moved. He knew how value was created. And slowly, he began to grow. His influence expanded. His network increased. His reputation spread. People began to trust him, to respect him, to follow him. And then he created something powerful, a place called Opobo. At first, it was just a settlement, but slowly it became something more, something important, something alive. Ships began to arrive from distant lands. Merchants traveled across waters. Goods flowed in and out every day. Palm oil, food, resources, wealth, everything passed through Opobo. And at the center of it all was Jaja. Now he was no longer invisible. He was no longer controlled. He was in control. People listened when he spoke. People followed his decisions. People respected his authority. And soon, he became something even greater. He became a king, King Jaja of Opobo. But what made Jaja truly powerful was not just his title, it was what he controlled. At that time, palm oil was one of the most valuable resources in the world. Factories in Europe depended on it. Industries needed it to survive, and demand for it was growing fast. And Jaja controlled the supply. He decided who could trade. He set the prices. He controlled access to the market. And for the first time, the British could not control everything. This was new. This was uncomfortable. And slowly, it became a problem. Because the British Empire was used to power, used to control, used to getting what they wanted. But Jaja stood in their way. He refused to be controlled. He refused to give up his system. He protected his trade, his people, his kingdom, and that made him dangerous. Not because he was violent, but because he was independent, and empires do not like independence. At first, the British tried to negotiate. They wanted direct access to trade. They wanted control over the market. They wanted influence over Opobo. But Jaja said no, again and again and again. He blocked them. He limited their power. He kept control. And slowly, tension began to grow. This was no longer just business. It was power, a struggle for control. And when negotiation failed, the British changed their strategy. They did not come with war. They did not send soldiers. They came with something quieter, something more dangerous, deception. They sent a message, let us meet, let us talk, let us make peace. It sounded calm. It sounded reasonable. It sounded safe. And Jaja believed them, because sometimes the most dangerous trap does not look like danger, it looks like peace. Jaja agreed to meet them. He stepped onto their ship, calm, confident, expecting a discussion. But what happened next was not peace, it was betrayal. The moment he entered, he was arrested. No warning, no negotiation, no chance to understand what was happening. One moment he had a life, the next moment it was gone. He was sent far away, into exile, a foreign land, a strange place, where the king became just a man again. Back in Opobo, everything began to change. Without Jaja, the system weakened, control disappeared, the British moved in, they took over trade, they took over power. Everything Jaja built was slowly taken apart, piece by piece. But even though he was gone, his story did not disappear. People remembered him. They spoke his name. They told his story, not as a man who failed, but as a man who rose, a man who started with nothing, no power, no freedom, and still became a king, a man who stood against one of the most powerful empires in the world and refused to bow, even when it cost him everything. And today, his story still speaks, not just about history, not just about power, but about something deeper. that where you start does not decide where you end, that strength is not always loud, and that sometimes the most powerful people are the ones who were once invisible. He was born a slave, but he became a king, and even an empire could not ignore him.